we go. All right, we'll now call to order the Monday, July 21st, 2025 meeting of the City of Hayden Planning and Zoning Commission. Can we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Erickson.
Here.
Commissioner Johnson.
Here.
Commissioner Morris.
Here.
Vice Chair Gibson. Absent. And Chair Taylor.
Here. Stand for the pledge. Dave, you want to lead us to that?
Yeah. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Have any additions or corrections to the agenda? Consent calendar, all items on the consent calendar are action items. Approval of the regular meeting minutes from July 7th and approval of written recommendation to City Council for the PZE 25-0043 Woodman subdivision. Any discussion? Motion?
I'll make a motion. Make a motion to approve the regular meeting minutes for the Planning and Zoning Commission, July 7th, 2025 meeting, and also approval of written recommendation to City Council for PZE 25-0043 Woodman subdivision.
I'll second.
Roll call or just all do a voice vote?
Commissioner Erickson. All in
Aye.
favor?
Oh, aye.
Aye.
There we go. Okay, first item is a public hearing, PZE 25-0060 for the Church of Living Water. Donna, are you, or Shannon? Shannon. Oh, you probably heard it off.
Second.
Yeah, my bad.
They were out. Okay. I think we are ready. Okay, so tonight we are here to see Church of the Living Water Inc. conditional use permit. It's PZE 25-0060. The location is split between two parcels, 1202 and 1212 West Hayden Avenue. And we've got a couple views for you. This one is facing southwest from Hayden Avenue, so it is this piece here, and then it goes in the back where that L shape was on the aerial I showed you before. And then facing east from Hayden Avenue, it's this piece here, that's that little flag lot. Across the street, we've got Hayden Pet Medical. And then from Eileen Court, which is almost right across the street from the lot, you are looking at it here. Here's that flag lot here. So again, it's on two lots, 1202 and 1212 West Hayden Avenue. It is zoned single-family residential R1. The parcels are 0.87 acres and 1.89 acres for a total of 2.76. Existing conditions, it's a single-family dwelling, a mobile home, which is on 1202 West Hayden, which was that lot that's a little further south. And that is planning to remain as storage until it's no longer needed on the parcel. Our development team, owner is Church of Living Water, Inc., and our owner's representative, who we've been dealing with, is Arthur Tormazov. Our applicant is Connie Kruger with Stonehenge D&G. And again, it's a conditional use permit that you are hearing tonight for religious institution and a future accessory school use. We don't have plans in for that school use. It would be further along. Both do require conditional use permit and single family residential, so we're hoping to tie those together tonight. And with that, we'll have Connie come on up for her part of the presentation.
My name is Connie Kruger. Do I need to provide an address for the record?
We do.
Don't remember, okay. Yeah, so my address is 1859 North Lakewood Drive, Suite 102, Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, 83814. And as Shannon has mentioned, I'm here representing the Church of the Living Water. We actually have a number of the members and leadership with the church here also today, and they'll also be speaking both in the public comment, and Arthur will be doing a little follow-up to my presentation, just talking to you briefly about the church. You've received the narrative that was submitted for the project, and so what I'm going to be doing is recapping a lot of the items that are in the narrative. So with that, we'll go to slideshow view. There we go. Okay. So some of the key highlights, and this is just to kind of summarize why we think that this project is a good fit within the location and meets city codes and a variety of other items. First of all, we think that the church is a really important addition to the city in that it is going to provide the ministerial and community support to certain constituents within the city. So as you look at the city from a planning perspective, it's always good to have that diversity of services that really support the people who are living here in the community. We are located within an urbanized area of the city, so it's an area where we already have a variety of services and utilities, so we're not out on the outer edge and requesting that the city extend utilities to us and other items like that. You will see with what we addressed tonight that we are compliant with the city standards and with any of the agency development standards. And one of the things that we've really done with this project is we've dialed down the building plans and the site plans to something that we think is permittable. So in other words, we should be able to move directly from hopefully an approval tonight into submitting those plans. And so sometimes I think people come before the Planning Commission and maybe they have more of a concept drawing, but we literally have dialed this down to an engineering level. So what you'll see can be realistically achieved. But we are seeking a conditional use permit, which is an allowed use. This is an allowed use without conditional permit in the R1 zone. And so we feel that we're consistent with the city zoning plans. We're also consistent with the future land use map in that this is a mixed use area that supports non-residential uses. We're also in a location where we can be accessed by our existing arterial road systems. And so we're not located interior to a neighborhood where the traffic from the church is trying to navigate local residential roads. We're going directly out onto an arterial. We will be served by water, sewer, utility service providers that are already providing services in the area, so enhancing their plans. You'll see by the way that we've designed the site that we're really trying to work with the surrounding neighborhood, and we'll look at some aerial photos and also our site plan to look at that, at how we're doing that. The developer will be, the church will be extending all of the public and private utilities to provide service to the site. So those are all extended at their cost, and we'll talk about that a little more. And then the other item, often churches are cited as being an entity that doesn't pay taxes, but we really want to ensure that everyone's aware that we will be paying impact fees, capitalization fees, building permit fees. None of those are waived. So all of the items that we are legally required to pay will be paid by the church, similar to any other development. A little bit of information about the church, and again, we'll have members of the church that will come up and talk about this a little bit further. But currently, they're based in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and as you saw in the narrative, they are rapidly outgrowing a rental space that they have there. And they're very, they like the Hayden community and they want to have a presence here. Arthur has done a lot of work in Hayden, a lot of his own projects, and just really loves the community and wants that to be here. The church is part of a greater church network, which is the Church of Evangelical Christian Faith of America. And again, we'll talk about that a little bit further. Right now, there are about 200 members and participants, and we use the language participant because not everyone who's coming to church is officially a member, but this is the type of participation that they see regularly. And so what they see is they see the need in the future to expand their services based on that type of participation and membership that they're seeing. And so some of the programs that they're offering are also evening services and Sunday school and some youth programs. So being present in the site will allow them to expand some of what they're offering. And so what you see off to the right, these aren't stock images. These are images of some of the events and services that the church is actually currently having. This is the pastor. So again, we've talked a little bit about the property. We're located on Hayden Avenue, nearly 3 acres of property. And you can see that there are 2 parcels. With the development of the project, we will be doing a lot consolidation. So we'll be eliminating one of those properties and pulling them together into one so that we can build under the building code. This is a view of the property. This is north, looking to the south. And I think this is a really good view because you get an idea of what's happening in the area. So off to the left, or this would be the east, these are some professional buildings. We have offices, we have some medical types of clinics like physical therapy services, those types of things. To the right or to the west is a electric company. And then if you look at this property back here that we are abutting, this is a full service marine facility. So you can see a lot of boats that are parked back behind it, and they're offering repair, cleaning services, detailing those types of things. You can see that to the south and back to the east that we have some existing residential neighborhoods. And we'll be talking about some of the things that we're going to be doing to try to lessen the impact on those neighborhoods. This is another view, and this is from the south looking north. So you get a better idea of the existing single-family residences, and then also a really good bird's eye view of the marine facility. This is an existing mobile home that is on the property. The church hasn't really decided if they want to keep this long-term or remove it, but they do feel that it would make a good job shack during the development of the property and also could potentially be used for storage. So right now, the plan is to leave that there, but in the future, the future of that is undetermined. So another view, this is the view to the east looking at the property. So as to the church will be a 7,500 square foot building. It's a fairly simple building plan. You'll see that it's really designed for essential services only. So we have an assembly area, 3 classrooms, a nursery, a kitchen, a pantry and a walk-in cooler that are just off the kitchen, and then some restrooms and a mechanical room. So just orienting you toward this would be, if you were to look off to the right, this would be facing up toward Hayden Avenue, but again, this is set back toward the back of the property. You can see here the assembly areas that we have, the platform with the piano, 3 of the classrooms, the nursery, and then the kitchen back in this area, restrooms, and then we have that pantry and that walk-in cooler. This is our site plan. So this is the church located on the site, and you can see that there is some ADA parking that's located up close to the church. We have designed the project so that if there is ever a future expansion, that we can meet all of the parking codes, that we can meet all of the city's stormwater codes, things like that. But right now, there's currently not a plan for anything, but again, we've designed if that growth were to occur, that we've appropriately space planned for that. You'll also see that all of the circulation aisles are oversized. City code really only requires, I think it's 24 feet for 2-way circulation, and so you'll see that a lot of our aisles are wider, which is great because a lot of people drive trucks, they need a little more area to work with that. So this would be our circulation in from Hayden Avenue, interior circulation in the parking lot. And you can see that we've designed this with all of our parking islands and whatnot that are required by code. So again, our circulation aisles range from 24 to 30 feet wide. We have either 9 by 20 or 9 by 18 stalls with 2-foot overhang, so everything is code compliant. Our sidewalks are 5 feet wide, and we have placed sidewalks around the building with ramps, and that's on the north, east, and west sides. So one of the things that we really wanted to do is if you're using the kitchen at night and you need to go out to take the garbage out, that you have a sidewalk on the west side of the building to get you to that area, and just trying to create a safer environment. Our lighting is all 18 feet high, and we are using full cutoff Cobra-style fixtures, and those will all be directed inward, which meets the city code. And the city does have a minimum lighting code, which is 0.2-foot candles. So when we design a lighting plan, we actually have to show uniform lighting across the site. One of the things that it can be an issue when you have pedestrians and vehicles interacting is when you get areas that are overlit and underlit, and then sometimes you can't see people as they're moving into different areas in the parking lot. So the city has a uniformity requirement, and we'll look a little bit at the lighting plan here soon. We will have signage out on West Hayden Avenue, and that would be a monument sign behind the sidewalk. And our traffic has been analyzed by our engineer, and he has determined, because of the traffic patterns that you generally see with churches, the majority of our traffic will be Sunday evenings, and so it's all off-peak hour. So not as impactful as what you see in that 3 to 5, 7 to 8 in the morning realm. Our parking islands will meet the city's code requirements for class 2 or 3 trees. We do have some perimeter buffers, and we have a violet one, and we'll look at this, 5 foot wide with 70% deciduous trees. A type 1 buffer, which is 10 feet wide with evergreen trees with fencing or masonry wall. And then we'll also have a combined buffer, and this buffer is in an area where we had a parking buffer requirement, but we also had a compatible use buffer requirement. So those two have been combined together. And we'll be using swale trees in that area, but they'll also be designed to meet those type 1 screening requirements. So with that, the colors don't show up really well here, but you can see here the little purple. These are the 5-foot parking, edge of parking perimeter buffers. Here in yellow is that combined buffer. So we're combining swales, we're combining parking, and we're combining a compatible use buffer there because we have some residential land uses that are off on this side. And then at the back, we have a type 1 buffer. So really the green and the yellow will function very similarly. They're going to be dimensioned very similarly, but we're designing this more for a swale environment where you see the yellow. With utilities, I don't think I'm going to go into all of these, but again, it's important to know that we'll be bringing utilities in internal to the site. We are going to have separate irrigation, then our potable water and our fire flow. We'll also be bringing in some sewer mains internal to the site, and we'll have a grease interceptor for the kitchen. So again, the stormwater's been designed to flow down to the east property line and has been sized to take all of that flow, but then also to accommodate some of these parking buffers that we have. Our power is actually going to be through a Vista, and we'll be working with Coeur d'Alene Garbage, and we do have a screened enclosure, which is just located, if you look at the church in the assembly area, it would be just to the north of that. So if you're thinking of the floor plan, it would be off to the right. So again, here's a site and utility plan showing all of the various infrastructure. This is the lighting plan that we talked about, and so when you design a lighting plan, what we do is we look at the city's lighting standards, and then we select fixtures that can meet those standards of being internally directed, fully shielded, and then providing that minimum disbursement of light. So what you see here is a light disbursement map, and this is an 18-foot tall Cobra-style fixture that we've selected. With the project, we will have dedications of right-of-way, and we will have easements that we'll be providing. So we will be granting an easement to Hayden Lake Irrigation District for our future water main alignment, allowing them to get in and to fix that if need be. And also for our internal sewer infrastructure. If the city of Hayden would like an easement in that area, we'll be happy to provide that. We'll also be providing some of the standard dedications of right-of-way and easements that you see out on West Hayden Avenue. And we'll be dedicating enough right-of-way in that area to meet the city's sidewalk or trail requirements. And in this case, I believe it will be a 10-foot wide multi-purpose path. We'll also be granting the Coeur d'Alene Airport an navigation easement for their circulation over the property. We've hit on this already, but our zoning is R1, so this is why we're here tonight, is to seek this conditional use permit. We are surrounded by commercial and residential zoning. Commercials to the northwest and east, and then we have that small amount of R1 zoning to the south, and then we have a mixed residential zoning to the southeast. So this is the zoning map showing you the property. So this is little yellow guy in here, and you can see the red commercial areas, and then the yellow to the south, which is residential, and then this is that mixed residential zone, that's the light blue. Comprehensive plan, we have a mixed-use future land use designation, so we feel like we really complement the intent of a mixed-use district. And we do feel that we align with all of the goals for that district. And again, our project is designed to reduce our impacts. So this is the comprehensive plan map, and you can see our property in this area here, and then the mixed use that we're surrounded by, which is all in purple. There are a variety of comprehensive plan goals and policies. As I review them, I really feel that all of them are appropriate. I am cognizant of time though, and you've been given a lot of this information in the narrative that I've supplied and also that staff has provided, so I don't think I'm going to go through all of that. But I'll have them here if anything comes up, and we can always come back and hit on those. But the point being that there are a wide variety of comprehensive plan goals and policies that we feel that we meet, that we're very consistent with. So again, all of these are here. So in summary, we feel that we're designed to comply with all of the required development standards. We're supported by the zoning code and the comprehensive plan. We have surrounding commercial uses that might even be higher intensity than what we are. We have provided all of the required landscaping buffers to help mitigate any of our light and sound. And we are incorporating that shielded lighting so that we can avoid light trespass. And we don't have an impact to local residential roads. And I think that's more and more of an issue when you try to fit these types of uses into the neighborhoods. I do want to say that members of the church have been talking to the surrounding neighbors. There may be surrounding neighbors here tonight, but by and large, they've been very clear about what their project is going to be, and they said that it's been a very positive discussion with the neighbors so far. So with that, I'd like to introduce Arthur, and he's going to talk a little bit about what their needs are, and then both of us will be here to stand for any questions.
Hello, everyone. As mentioned, Arthur Tormazov. Do you need an address?
Yes, please.
772 Redwood Court, Hayden, Idaho, 83835. So, I'm part of the board of directors and part of the building committee, and here kind of being the bridge representative for this project. Just wanted to tell you guys a little bit about who we are, why we like this community, why we want to be in Hayden. So as Connie mentioned, we're part of the Church Evangelical Christian Faith of America. So this is a Slavic English speaking brotherhood of churches. There's about 60 churches nationwide and internationally. One of the oldest brotherhoods here from 1981. The main overseer is Reverend Oleg Bueller. He's also the pastor of our church. And so a lot of us, years ago, we lived up in Alaska, majority of, or maybe half of our church. And we moved down here seeking warmer weather, good people, and this beautiful landscape. And it so happened that Hayden is a good balance of everything. And I guess part of our congregation is in Athol, Coeur d'Alene, majority lives in Hayden, some in Post Falls, so it's just a good central spot. I myself have lived in Hayden for many years, and I'm in construction, so I've done a lot of projects here, and I love working with the city, and thought this was a perfect fit. So our services was listed that were in Slavic English, so we are also, so it's kind of Russian, Ukrainian, English, kind of whoever can participate. We're Bible preaching, and we love the community, we love unity, and hopefully we can benefit you guys in that way. As mentioned before, on Sundays, 10 a.m., we have services. Tuesdays, we have a Bible study and prayer. During the school months, the winter months, we have Sunday school for the children also, which happens during our services. And we're currently renting in Lake City Center in Coeur d'Alene, and eager for this to be approved so we can start building. Any questions?
Any questions?
Is there, I heard that there's a mention of a fence. Could you elaborate on what kind of fence there would be between the residential areas?
So there's already a chain link fence with the privacy screening in it. And I don't know, Connie, if we're supposed to, supposedly that meets the standard for the privacy screening fence.
Yeah, I was just curious.
6 feet tall.
Yeah, 6 feet tall. Good. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Okay, so I'm going to cover the Hayden City Code side of things. That was a great presentation, very thorough and an in-depth look of the site plan that we have seen. Has not officially been applied for with the city yet, but when it does come forward, we will make sure all city codes and standards are met as the site develops. So here I have our table of allowed uses, and you can see that in the R1 zone, both the religious institution and uses related to and operated by a religious institution are by conditional use permit only. And if the owner should wish to do a zone map amendment in the future to align with the future land use map, a religious institution is allowed outright in that zone. However, we would still need that conditional use permit for any future accessory uses, which at this time the applicant has stated that perhaps somewhere down the road they would look to, have an accessory school on site. If and when that does come forward, again, we would go through all city codes and make sure that that complies with those standards. So Hayden City Code 1171 talks about our conditional use permit process. It's used to allow for uses that are not permitted outright in particular zones, and uses that possess characteristics of unique and special nature relative to the location, design, size, and/or facilities. The planning and zoning condition, this is a part of code as well. We are going to hold a public hearing, which we're doing here tonight, and this is kind of more to help any of the public that might be here that aren't aware of what our standard procedures are for conditional use permit, or those watching online. And then, of course, the commission, you are able to approve, conditionally approve, or deny the conditional use permit under the conditions specified, and then you'll take all of those into consideration as well to hold up the intent of the title. So we'll go into the intent of Title 11. And basically, this is the very first paragraph in Title 11, and just talks about why we have this title. And its purpose is to promote the health, safety, and general welfare of the residents of the city of Hayden. Land use regulations will be applied in ways that respect the public needs, minimize conflicts with nearby land uses, and protect the private property rights of the landowners. The zoning regulations should implement the goals and policies of the comprehensive plan and have been made with reasonable consideration, among other things, for the character of the district. And we're going to go through those here in just a bit. You have 3 standards of approval for a conditional use permit, excuse me. And so in the staff analysis, we did cover that, and you were given the staff analysis that was posted to the website. And then also with the executive summary that was given to you in board book. So the first one is the proposal is in accordance with general objectives or with any specific objective of the comprehensive plan and or the zoning ordinance. So I've got 2 maps for you. Future land use map. Here it does show that the parcels here are on the future land use map as mixed residential. Our current, sorry?
Mixed use.
Mixed use, sorry, thank you, mixed use. And then our current zone map shows it as single-family residential. And again, as Connie pointed out earlier, we do have the mixed residential over here off to the east. We have single-family residential to the south. And then surrounding it around the west and north, a little bit of the northeast here, we've got commercial uses already. Goals that we can apply this conditional use to are goals 3, 5, 7, 8, 16, and 18. And they are spelled out here for you in the staff analysis as well as in the executive summary. And then the policies that we believe this conditional use permit complies with are 2, 9, 10, 11, 17, and 23. And so again, as this lot is off of Hayden, it already does have quite a few services already applied to it. You know, a lot of these meet those already with transportation systems and nodes of development, encouraging, like number 17, live, work, play, lifestyle through a mixture of commercial and residential uses and that sort of thing. So the purpose of our single-family residential zone is to provide for the classic Hayden neighborhood where single-family homes on smaller lots are permitted. Accessory dwelling units are permitted, but 2-family dwellings are not. And in the future land use description for mixed use, those areas allow for both residential multifamily of 3 or more units per structure and commercial land use types, creating a flexible environment for development with fewer restrictions on structure types and densities. And again, they are not doing a zone map amendment to mixed use, but this is just to show you how it, you know, could potentially fit in that future land use description. Number 2 on your standards of approval, the location design and size of the proposal are such that the development will be adequately served by streets, police and fire protection, drainage structures, refuse disposal, water, sewer, and schools, or that the persons or agencies responsible for the establishment of the proposed use shall be able to provide adequately any such services. So with this one already having that mobile home on site, I do have the current status of those facilities, utilities and infrastructure. So it currently exists as residential use with an existing mobile home. Both parcels are currently served by streets, police and fire protection, drainage structures, refuse disposal, water, and schools. 1202 West Hayden is currently served by city sewer. The change in the use to religious institution does not trigger mitigation of any of these requirements based on agency notices that we did receive back. And then I also did want to note that sewer cap fees are based on the amount of domestic water usage consumed. So right now, we've got one cap fee allotted for the one mobile home. And then as the site develops, we'll ask for an industrial waste pretreatment form. And at that point, our city engineer will go through, see how much water they're planning to consume, and then from there kind of calculate if there's a need for additional cap fees to be paid. The other method of doing that is to ask for their annual water statement and kind of assess at that point, okay, you've been in business for a year, you know, how much water usage have you been using? And then we'll kind of go at that point too. And agency comments specific to this standard, IDWR stated the applicant will need to work with that agency for any new water uses not already permitted or licensed. Northern Lakes Fire Protection commented about requirements relating to future roads and driveways and that they would need to meet the minimum district standards. Noted additional requirements may apply depending on the size and type of occupancy constructed. So again, as that site plan does come in, they'll review it at that point and make any modifications necessary. And standard number 3 is the design and planning to include construction, operation, and maintenance of the site is compatible with the location, setting, and existing uses, and the intended character of the general vicinity. And so again, when that site plan does come in, it'll be reviewed in conformance with Hayden City Codes, policies, and standards with requirements for landscaping, lighting, parking, and stormwater as part of the future development. We sent agency notices to 16 agencies, and as of from those, we received the comments from IDWR. They have no cause for concern. They did state they're within Hayden Lake Irrigation District's jurisdiction, and so they do ask that the applicant works with IDWR for any new water uses. Coeur d'Alene Airport requested a navigation easement. Again, Northern Lakes Fire District approved the conditional use permit with requirements relating to future roads and driveways, fire flow, site development, and occupancy. And then Hayden Lake Irrigation District actually hadn't responded prior to my staff analysis. I did reach out to them around June 10th, just because we normally do hear from them. And he did reply, Brandon from Hayden Lake Irrigation did reply on July 14th. His comments were included in the memo that was attached to board book, so you should have seen that. But I did want to include his comment here as well. He requests that the applicant confirms the fire hydrant locations with Northern Lakes Fire. He said new services will need to come in off of Hayden Avenue, as the old main will not be permitted for use. And then once the design is submitted to the applicant, from the applicant to Hayden Lake, they'll determine the best option for both the owners and the district at that point on how to get water in from Hayden Avenue. We received one public comment from the adjacent property owner notice that we send out. And it was from Connie McGee at 9419 West Macy Loop. So she is part of that mixed residential side to the east of the property. She didn't have any comments, but she just checked the box that she's in support. So want to make sure that was up there too. So we have staff recommended conditions of approval. Some of these have been amended and or added as of my staff analysis, especially with those new comments that came in from Hayden Lake Irrigation District. And so we'll kind of just summarize those real quick. Approval is based upon the request of religious institution use with a future accessory school use within the single-family residential zone. The approval runs with the land for as long as the use remains a religious institution use. Development shall comply with Hayden City Codes, policies, and standards with required landscaping, lighting, parking, and stormwater requirements addressed as part of any future site development. Setbacks shall conform to the single-family residential zone's setbacks, and landscaping shall conform to the required buffers relating to the use of the site corresponding to the adjacent uses. So What that kind of means is setbacks are very standard when it comes to city code. And the landscaping pertains to the use there. So when we have the commercial use to the west and to the north, those landscape buffers are going to be different than those that are up against the residential uses, just to make sure that we do have that buffer to kind of help with lighting and noise or any of that sort of thing. Number 4, a lot consolidation form is required to be completed and recorded to allow for development on one building envelope. So this one we are going to modify. The city has kind of implemented a new way of doing these lot consolidations, whereas it used to be a form that we would have filled out and recorded with the county. It's now going to look a little bit different. So we would like to modify this one to say a lot consolidation is required to be completed and recorded to allow for development on one building envelope. So we're just going to cross out form and the things that are in parentheses there. And Donna, did you want to speak to that a little bit with that new process, or are we good?
I think that resolves it.
Okay.
Basically, in order to meet your building envelopes, you can't have a building across property lines. So we'll just have to resolve that prior to certificate of occupancy.
Parking conditions of approval, no parking on West Hayden Avenue or unpaved locations within the project site. Should parking occur in areas where it's not allowed, the owner shall provide for the required parking through a joint parking agreement, an additional parking area, or through an improvement to the existing site for additional parking space or other means acceptable to the city. Access conditions, the site shall be limited to the following locations just off West Hayden Avenue, so that means we're not going to allow anything from anywhere else. They're coming in off Hayden Avenue. And then per the city engineer, the size of the access to the site may be reduced pending stormwater calculations and swale requirements. So she wanted to make sure that that was included when we do get the site plan in. At that point, all of those stormwater calculations will be taken into account, and the size that we've seen on the site plan may have to be reduced, but it would be taken up at that point. Construction conditions of approval. So Hayden Avenue is constructed to a C2 street typical section. This would include dedication of right-of-way granted to the city of Hayden, which includes curb, gutter, and swale in a form approved by the city prior to CO. Grant of utility, snow storage, and drainage easement is to be granted to the city of Hayden in a form approved by the city prior to CO. And again, per the city engineer, should the owner wish to defer construction of the C2 street typical section as identified above for the half width, a deferred improvement agreement shall be requested, approved, and recorded. And so this condition kind of gives the applicant that option, because in the future, Hayden Avenue is proposed to be widened. They would be able to defer the construction of those improvements should they wish for when Hayden starts coming through.
Yeah.
They will still be liable for those, but they can just defer it. And our agency conditions, per the Coeur d'Alene Airport, again, they would like to see an navigation easement. Idaho Department of Water Resources, should any new water uses not already permitted or licensed for the site be requested, the applicant is to work with IDWR. Hayden Lake Irrigation, again, would like to see that water coming in from Hayden Avenue, as the existing water main will not be permitted for use. Upon the owner's design submittal to the district will determine the best option for water service. And also per Hayden Lake Irrigation District, the owner is to work with Northern Lakes Fire regarding placement requirements for fire hydrants. Numbers 11 and 12 were added after the staff analysis was done. So those two are also an amendment to these conditions. So again, you've got your 3 standards of approval here, and you've got possible motions. We've got a motion to approve with the staff recommended conditions of approval as amended, so it does include those amendments that we've talked about tonight. A motion to continue, which we would need to figure out the date and address concerns relating to why you want that to be continued, or a motion to deny. Again, you would need to state the reasons for the denial at this time. So that is all for me. If you have questions, I'm here to answer them, or I can leave the screen on for you, whatever you want to do.
Any questions?
No questions from me.
Okay.
We'll just leave that screen up then.
This one or standards?
Standards?
Standards? All right.
Has anyone had any ex parte communications regarding this? No, okay. We'll now move into the public comment period. Anyone who wants to offer comments regarding the subject case, please submit a completed form located on the table by the entrance doors. The forms must have your name, address, date, and whether you want to testify in support of, opposed to, or are neutral. Anyone planning to speak must do so at the podium so your remarks can be heard in the recording system. All questions and comments will be directed to the commission, not the applicant. The applicant will have the opportunity to answer questions and offer a rebuttal after all public testimony is completed. All speakers will need to state their name and address for the record before they begin speaking. I will call first those supporting the application, then those uncommitted, and finally those opposed to the application. Please note the commission is not here to answer questions. And it looks like we have one person who wishes to speak, Ben Borobets, and he is wishing to speak for the proposal.
Good evening, Commissioners. Ben Vorobets for the record, 9046 North Raintree Lane in Hayden, Idaho. I would like to speak for this proposal, this church building. I'm a member of this church. I've lived in Hayden for 2 years now and in this area for almost 5 years. I have 3 little kids, 4, 3, and 1 on the way. And we love this community. We love everything about it. We love the lakes. We love the people. We love, being in this safe place where we can send our kids outside and they can ride their bikes and they can do whatever. We live approximately a mile from this church, so I've told my kids that when this church gets built, they will be walking there for their health and for our mental well-being. But I'm speaking forward for this because I believe that it is a place that my kids and their kids will enjoy for generations. The community, the social aspects, the fellowship that we have in this church is something that has been a benefit to me and my family, and I believe it will serve the community and the neighbors around for generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else would care to speak that would like to fill out a form? No? Okay. Probably no rebuttal for that. Anyone on the commission have any further questions? No? Do you wish to deliberate or reschedule?
Deliberate.
Deliberate, okay. All right. Chris?
Did you confirm no rebuttal?
I'm sorry?
Did you confirm with the applicant no rebuttal?
I did.
Okay, just making sure.
Just
Thank
didn't
you.
want to miss it for the process.
All right, the hearing is now closed. No further questions or comments will be allowed from the public. And we have no more questions here. Anybody wish to offer any comments?
I'll start. Just looking at the future use or future land use map, this falls right in line with everything that the city of Hayden is aspiring to be, promoting community growth within the vision of what the people of Hayden want. Just looking at what the uses look like in that section of Hayden, it's almost as if its current use is not aligned with everything else. And so this brings it into a nice, clean alignment with how everything is zoned. I don't really see anything negative with bringing in a church like this. And yeah, I haven't really heard anything that would lead me to believe otherwise.
Chris?
I would agree.
Okay, well,
So I think this would be a great benefit to the community. I can't think of any churches really in the relative area. And it sounds like from the way that they've planned this and planned their development, it seems to be very considerate of their neighbors in the residential and commercial sides of them, and a very responsible use of the land. So I think this would be a great benefit to the community there.
okay. And I think they've met the standards of approval. I think a church is good because their traffic patterns are different than the rest of the commercial businesses there, so that will not put an additional stress on Hayden, which we know can be stressed at times.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good proposal. Anybody have, anyone care to make a motion?
I would. I move to approve PZE-25-0060, Church of Living Water, Inc., conditional use permit request with staff recommended conditions of approval as amended, finding that it is in accord with the standards of Hayden City Code based upon testimony received at the Planning and Zoning Commission public hearing and the record of the request.
I'll second that. We have a motion.
And Commissioner Erickson,
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson,
Aye.
Commissioner Morris,
Aye.
and Chair Taylor.
Aye. The conditional use permit is approved. And now move on to our next public hearing. You do not have to stick around to listen to our next one, but if you'd like to, if you'd like to watch the wheels of the planning commission work. Thank you very much.
Anytime I hear someone say a second.
Donna, are you presenting for this one?
Start singing that song.
Okay.
I'll stick around for you.
It's the little things in life, you know? Yeah.
Let's see. Close out part of them, open up part of them. The second one is PZE 250055. It's the North Atlas Industrial Subdivision, and it's a major subdivision, so it has a planning and zoning public hearing, and then it has a public meeting with city council. So it's a recommendation, not a straight.
Not a straight approval.
Approved, correct. So the request, the applicant and engineer of record is Drew Dittman from Lake City Engineering. The owners are Ravel LLC, and this is a single-phase subdivision to develop 9.63 acres into 10 light industrial lots. So just as a matter of location, it's on the northwest corner of North Atlas Road and Phantom, once Phantom gets built. And again, just to kind of give you kind of a, we're kind of out there where farther north is the Hayden Area Regional Sewer Board, and then county in the airport land is farther to the north, and also directly east of this, east of Atlas, is also in the county. So just as a kind of a where are we at. All right, I hand it over to Drew. And I want to say the very last slide, he finally got it to do something that I could have not been successful in. That's got all the standards on one slide.
They probably won't be legible, but
But they're all there.
they're all there.
Awesome.
Good evening, Chairman Taylor, Commissioners. Drew Dittman, Lake City Engineering, for the record, 126 East Poplar Avenue in the wonderful city of Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Tonight representing Ravel LLC. As Donna had indicated, we have a 10-lot industrial plat in front of you tonight, looking for your recommendation to City Council. Just a vicinity map, and Donna kind of went through this real quick, but the property there is highlighted in red. at the intersection of Phantom Drive and Atlas Road, just south of the airport and the wastewater treatment plant there. This is your zoning map. So the property is currently zoned light industrial. It's completely surrounded by industrial property. The yellow you see there in the lower left, that's the Carrington Meadows subdivision, but all down Atlas, you've got industrial development. So from that standpoint, it fits very well. Future land use map is very similar, light industrial in the gray. Again, the property highlighted in red. So here's a copy of the preliminary plats. We've got Phantom that runs east-west, and on the right-hand side is Atlas Road. It's about a 9.6 acre parcel. We're chunking it up into 10 industrial lots, so they're obviously a little bit less than an acre apiece, but Phantom Drive will go all the way from Atlas and join the existing Phantom Drive to the west. And here's, Donna, you can borrow my slide if you like. These are the conditions of approval straight out of your code. I snipped them out of the code because I wanted them all on one page. They're in your staff report, and I'm sure Donna's going to go through them for you. And I'll briefly talk about them, and I'm sure you guys are very familiar with them from projects in the past. So there are 8 of them. Items 1 through 3 are primarily infrastructure related. Is there infrastructure available to the site, sewer, water, roads? So Phantom Drive has sewer, we'll be extending sewer in it. It will connect to the west. There is sewer there. There is capacity for it. There's a will serve letter from Harbs and from the city of Hayden in your packet. Water is, again, in Phantom and in Atlas. It's Avondale Irrigation District. Interestingly enough, though, there will be a Hayden Lake Irrigation District water line that will most likely be put in Phantom Drive as well in an effort to loop their system. We've been working with them, even though they won't serve the property, they'd like to loop some infrastructure they have in the area. So we've been kind of working with them to make sure that happens. And as far as roads go, you've got Atlas Road, which is a collector status road. Phantom Drive will be a collector status road. So items 1 through 3, again, infrastructure related, we meet those requirements. Items 4 through 6 are really construction-related issues. You know, can the site meet erosion control and best management practices? Are dry utilities available? Do driveways meet city standards, et cetera, et cetera? And so we've submitted in the packet a preliminary engineering plan that demonstrates that we can meet all of those. It's been reviewed by the city engineer. There weren't really any issues. There were some comments about driveway spacing. And we're aware that because the lots aren't wide enough to have individual approaches, we'll have shared approaches on every other property line to the lots so that they can meet your driveway spacing. And it's kind of hard to see on this drawing, but it's shown that way. Item 7 at the very, very bottom there is a zoning issue, is the subdivision in conformance with the zoning. Again, it's light industrial. We're proposing on light industrial or industrial type subdivision for manufacturing, light manufacturing uses. So we do meet that requirement. Number 8 is the developers made adequate plans to ensure the community will bear no more than its fair share. Again, I talk about we're going to be improving Atlas Road to collector status. We're building Phantom Drive to a collector status. We're putting in the sewer. We're putting in the water. We'll be paying, the appropriate impact fees. So yes, we'll be meeting that standard as well. There are, I believe, 11 conditions of approval in the staff report relating to various issues. We've reviewed all of them. We don't take exception to any of them. So we're willing to live with those. So with that, I'll leave that up there and answer any questions if you have them for me.
So you'll be actually improving or putting in Phantom Road, is that correct?
So we will. We're actually working with the property owner to the south to try to get all of Phantom Road built at one time instead of just our half. So we're about this close to getting that done. So hopefully we can get that done because I know the city would really like to get that done at one shot. So.
About how many parking spaces is each building going to have?
It totally depends on use. So right now it's vacant lands, we're selling vacant lots. So parking is going to be totally dependent on use. And actually one of the conditions in there is that we're required to do traffic studies for each lot as it's developed, because the uses in an industrial zone vary so much that you could have one use that really doesn't need much parking at all, and you can have another use that needs a ton of parking, so.
Okay. Could one say that it would semi-resemble Warren Industrial Park with
It's
that
very-
parking kind of setup?
Very similar. These lots are a little bit smaller than the Warren K stuff.
Okay.
And that was by design. The Warren K stuff is anywhere from an acre to 2 acre stuff. And then we did I shouldn't say we because it's a different client, but I did the Doherty Industrial Park on Dakota and Atlas just to the south.
Okay.
And those are much smaller lots, more of an incubator style project. So this actually kind of fits that middle between a Warren K style and the incubator stuff, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Does that make sense?
Thank you, yes, sir.
Anything else for me?
I don't believe so.
I'm going to leave this up for Donna then. Thank you.
Just so you can brag.
What?
Just so you can brag that he got them all on one screen.
Yeah. I can read it.
Can I borrow your glasses?
Binoculars? Jeez Louise. So I'm going to back up just briefly. So this slide was taken, this aerial was taken, and it was part of the staff analysis, and doesn't show the right-of-way dedication. This one was today, and they have given right-of-way dedication on the south side in anticipation of working with development that's a single project to the south to build that road all at the same time. That's just the difference in the time between the staff and how things are kind of moving. And then he kind of showed you the lot and the plat, preliminary plat. So then just as a kind of walking through the staff analysis, you know, the first two are about infrastructure and if it can be located accordingly, and those are evaluated throughout the staff analysis. The third one is talking about all of the various utility providers, and Avondale Irrigation District provided their will serve letter in May, and Northern Lakes Fire Protection District provided their comments in July. And here those are.
Thank you. One for you, keep the rest.
And as always, the fire department and the water department work together where the fire hydrants are placed and to meet those requirements. The sewer will serve letter was provided by the city in July of 2025, and that this is in the H7 sewer basin, so it actually flows south to go north. And then stormwater and snow storage requirements will be reviewed at the time of construction plan submittal. So this is the city's zoning map. And you can see that this plat kind of, you know, do a really good job rotating, but this plat is proposed to go, you know, right in here. The north end of Phantom, so Carrington goes here. This portion of Phantom has already been constructed, and the remainder of Phantom connecting to Atlas would be connected with this project as well. It will have type 4 street frontage landscaping required on both Atlas and on a Phantom Drive, which is basically one tree for every 50 feet. And the only portion that I want to note that is that there are sewer lines and water lines in Atlas Road in abundance of utility infrastructure down Atlas Road. And so if there is a conflict point of where these trees are required for the street frontage landscaping with the water lines and the sewer lines, then they're going to be required to push that street frontage required buffer onto the building lots themselves. So just as a matter of interest. Provisions have been made for parks and open space. So the city made the determination many years ago that non-residential building permits don't pay park impact fees. So it's not a requirement of a light industrial subdivision to pay park impact fees or to provide open space per se on those lots. Sidewalk connectivity as proposed shall be in accordance with the typical street section for both Atlas and Phantom. Geohazard shall be reviewed during construction plan review. Mailbox locations shall be reviewed at the time of construction plan review, and they're being requested to be on Phantom and not on Atlas. And no parcels shall have access, primary or secondary, to Atlas Road. And that goes along with the the access policies that we've adopted with the city that Mr. Dittman noted. The area is proposed is in conformance with the zone. And so the light industrial zone provides for light manufacturing, processing, distribution, wholesale, retail sales in an environment that's clean, quiet, and free of noise, odor, dust, and smoke. It doesn't have a minimum lot size. Front yard setbacks are 20 feet, whether it's a primary use principal structure or an accessory structure. 10-foot side yard and rear yard setbacks, and 15 feet from the flanking street. So the primary street is Phantom, and Atlas is the flanking street, so it would have a 15-foot setback from Atlas. The asterisk from the side and the rear is that in the light industrial and the commercial zones, you can get all the way down to a 0 lot line setback on those lot configurations, as long as you meet fire and building codes. So there are some instances that may make some sense. Rules and policies are always in their entirety in the appendix, and staff works through and looks through proposals, trying to pull out goals and policies that may or may not be applicable to a project. So when you're looking at a subdivision, you're always looking at, having that balance between the commercial opportunities and residences in a city. So this gives good possibility for folks to have businesses in the city that promote employment for residents that live in the city. This is a development that's already in this corporate limits versus annexation. Ensuring the development can be serviced by existing public facilities. And again, you'll have an extension of sewer and water for both looping purposes and as well as to get sewer from where it is in Carrington to the east. And ensuring that ordinances and policies don't violate private property rights. And then policies, taking those goals and one step further with the policies, again, trying to develop the city in an organized fashion from where you have services now and where you need them to be within the corporate limits. That kind of. And then we always, anywhere that you're this close to the airport, we always look to see what the impacts are related to the airport and whether or not there are any concerns raised by the airport. And we'll talk about a concern that was raised by the airport when we get to agency comments. So then standard number 8 talks about that that the developer pays for his fair share and gets the improvements put in. And I think that Mr. Dittman covered that. So we noticed 24 agencies. They're on page 8 of your staff review. Panhandle Health District identified that a full subdivision application would need to be submitted and fees paid prior to final plat. Kootenai County Sheriff's Office had no concerns. Idaho Department of Water Resources identified no concerns or comments. Avondale Irrigation District didn't have any additional comments from their will serve. Northern Lakes Fire Protection District, you received their comments tonight. Ouch. The Hayden Area Regional Sewer Board provided a letter regarding an odor easement because of the proximity of this development to the treatment plant. And, you're a treatment plant. There are possibilities that you're going to have some odor related to that. But they also identified concerns related to infrastructure that was in or near North Atlas Road. And so Atlas Road isn't just pavement, it's also beyond the pavement. So there could be additional infrastructure that doesn't reside just within the pavement section. So anytime that there are projects that happen in or near HARB's infrastructure, they need to get HARB's encroachment permits for that construction as well. Idaho Fish and Game didn't have any comments, and the Coeur d'Alene Airport requested an navigation easement, obviously because of the close proximity to the airport, but they also asked about Phantom Road. So staff met with the Coeur d'Alene Airport, our city engineer Dulcie met with the Coeur d'Alene Airport regarding concerns that they had about Phantom Road. Phantom Road, east of Atlas Road, is in Kootenai County. The south half of that is in Post Falls Highway District, and the north half of the road is in Kootenai County. It is not within the city of Hayden's city limits. However, there are folks that, are out in this neck of the woods that would utilize Phantom that would eventually connect on into Hutter. So I think they're trying to figure out, what kind of impact having the road actually go through is going to have on the airport. But pretty much left it back in their world to figure out what they were going to do with that between them and Kootenai County and Post Falls Highway District. So I actually saved this PowerPoint at about 5:15 this afternoon because I kept thinking there has to be a public comment. I was on vacation last week and I looked high and low and there were no additional public comments that came in as a result of the noticing in the paper, property signs, the 300-foot radius. We didn't get any additional information. So we did have some recommended conditions of approval. These are totally summarized here. They're in detail in your staff analysis. The first four are pretty standard. Development has to meet Hayden City Code policies and plans. Dedications and easements have to be on the plat. Permits from outside agencies, which could include Coeur d'Alene Airport, Hayden Area Regional Sewer Board, Avondale Irrigation District, Idaho Department of Environmental Quality, Idaho Department of Water Resources, North Lakes Fire Protection, Panhandle Health. Those are pretty much standard folks that provide additional layers of information that they need to have done. And then the approval runs with the land. So if this project is recommended from you for approval, goes to City Council, gets approved, and they enter into a master development agreement, that continues if they sell the property. These same conditions apply. We talked about access, that all lots shall be accessed from Phantom Drive, and that no lot shall have access onto Atlas. Construction plan requirements. Atlas Road is going to be built to a C1 typical section that's anticipated to be a 3-lane section without bicycle lanes. And Phantom Drive is going to be built to a local commercial light industrial collector, also without bicycle lanes. Erosion control measures will be reviewed at time of construction, because although it looks flat out there, it is not. So we always review those erosion control measures. No cross-country sewer is proposed here. And so all sewer needs to be in accordance with the adopted sewer master plan. Mailbox locations need to be identified so that if there is a required pullout, that gets addressed on the construction plans. The landscape plans come in at the time of the subdivision construction plans, and then we kind of follow those at the time of building permit issuance, because we don't want them to put in trees in non-irrigated swales and have the trees die and have to be replaced. We also don't want all the disturbance of the land out there and then have the lots remain not built upon and then windstorms come in, because you end up with a dust farm going out across the airport, and that gets really cranky for everybody too. So a condition is that individual lots that are dry land grass mix shall be applied until the lot is developed and hydroseeded. Installation of the irrigation system and required landscaping is completed. So that all occurs at the time of building permit, but the dry grass mix goes on to hold the topsoil in place, hopefully not blowing across the airport. And then that street frontage landscaping goes in at the time of building permit as well. All public right-of-way shall either be dedicated on the plat or by separate document at the time of the final plat. It was conversed that this right-of-way dedication could come in at any point during this process, and so it hadn't been determined when the staff analysis was completed if it was going to come in as a separate document or part of the plat. So it came in ahead. And then all utility easements required and/or as identified on the typical section shall be granted on the plat or by separate document, also at the time of final plat. Developers shall comply with Northern Lakes Fire Protection District. And then an avigation easement, that is the airport's avigation easement, shall get recorded and referenced on the plat. So you have a motion to recommend approval, or a motion to continue, or a motion to deny. Recommend denial. Stand for questions.
Any questions?
Okay, what would you like me to leave up? I can bring up his 8. That'll work. Do you have any comments, public commenters?
We do not. We do not. Does anybody care to comment? No? Okay. We have no public comments.
Do they want to rebut?
Would you like to rebut?
Unless there's any further questions for me.
Anybody have any questions?
No?
No? Okay. There we have it. Oh, I guess we'll leave that up right there.
Okay.
Thank you. And have any of you had any ex parte communications with the applicant or general public regarding this? No?
No.
Okay.
Nope.
Comments? Concerns?
I think this is going to be very similar to other industrial parks in the area. I think this is a perfect place for it, and I appreciate that they'll be developing Phantom Drive for the future. So I think this is perfect, and we'll see them down the line, right?
Yep. Okay. David? I concur. You concur, okay. Do you concur as well, Chris?
Agreed.
Okay, I do believe they've met the standards of approval, and it would be nice to see Phantom Drive not be so phantom anymore. So, anybody have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve. I move to recommend approval of the PZE-25-0055 North Atlas Industrial Subdivision preliminary plat request with staff recommended conditions of approval, finding that it is in accord with the standards of Hayden City Code based upon testimony received at the Planning and Zoning Commission public hearing and the record of the request.
I second.
All right. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Erickson,
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson,
Aye.
Commissioner Morris,
Aye.
Chair Taylor.
Aye. We have recommended approval to the city council. Thank you. We'll move on to reports.
Hey. So you're in luck. The August 4th meeting, we're going to cancel.
Wow.
We're having I have to be in Boise that night, so, or I have to be on my way to Boise.
Do you have one of those, do
Meeting on Tuesday, so it doesn't work.
you have like a workshop going on in Boise?
It's yeah,
Yep.
sort of.
Yep.
We will have a meeting on the 18th, however, because that will be where we will be approving these two written decisions at that meeting at a minimum. I don't know if we have something coming forward on a public hearing docket or not. We might, I don't know. Have to go look. I was gone on vacation, I'm sorry. I'm still catching up. We were supposed to have a workshop tomorrow night with city council, but they were having difficulty getting to a quorum for tomorrow night's council meeting, and so rather than trying to make a workshop and have you guys all try to figure out how to make that work, that didn't make any sense.
Okay.
So we are shooting for a workshop on the 12th of August. That's the first council meeting in August. Again, after the meeting. The goal, I think, of this workshop is to take a look at our future land use map in comparison to our goals and policies. So we're going to pull up the goal, we're going to read the goal, we're going to look at the map, figure out if it's kind of, marry the two together, because that's how these are built.
New names? Do we get
I don't know. We'll see what we can do. Yeah, that's the goal. That's where we're going with this kind of workshop, trying to, get that worked out.
Perfect. Do you see any Anything big on the horizon or no?
As far as projects go, yeah, we've got a couple of projects floating around in the works that
Yep.
we're trying to get ironed out.
Okay.
Do any of you have calendar constraints for August 12th to where you know for sure you wouldn't be able to make that workshop?
It's a Tuesday, right?
It looks good for me.
Okay.
Should be good.
I don't know, there's a meteor shower that night.
Oh, yeah, that's the big one.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
We need to get you
Perseo.
out before dark.
Yes, yes, please, yeah.
Just need to be out before
As
midnight.
long as it's not a
please.
full moon, I'm good.
You don't want to see.
No, I know.
So that would be the next,
Yes.
the
Yes.
12th. Got it,
Yeah.
okay.
Oh, okay, yeah, we don't have another one in July, so, okay.
And then the only other thing I would remind everybody is this weekend is Hayden Days. So if you are out and about, this is the place to be. It starts Friday at 2. Kelly Hughes will be here Friday night. And then all day Saturday starts with the parade and various entertainment is happening all day long. Lots of vendors. It's a full house this year, so.
Lots of traffic.
Yes, lots of traffic. Yeah.
But so worth
It
it.
should be fun time. So.
Good, nice. Anybody else have anything? Anyone to add? No? I think we are adjourned.
Dinner is in the kitchen.
Thank you.